Hello, college football fans. This is Tim May. This is the Clay May Report, but Clay Hall couldn't be with me today because he had some other plans going on. You know, we are both semi-retired. We have things going on in our lives other than football anymore, but whenever the doors open at the Wood Hayes Athletic Center, I always try to walk through it. And it was fun watching this third day because I'm not sure things became crystal clear, but for example, in the quarterback race, this is on Saturday, August the 2nd. On the quarterback race, I thought Julian Sayin had a better day than Lincoln Keenholz. How that matters in the long run, that remains to be seen. But every practice, every day is another step. Every rep is another step. And Julian even got a couple of bonus reps, several bonus reps when Lincoln Keenholz suffered a turnover in the almost full go scrimmage session, which turned out to be quite fun to watch during the midst or late in the practice. So, so that's the report card on that situation. I'm sure it's still going to go on, this race, for another couple of weeks because you don't base it all on a practice. If you did, then probably Lincoln Keenholz would have been the leader a day ago. And as the old saying goes, keep your ear to the ground when it comes to the starting quarterback at Ohio State for 2025. But I do believe Julian Sayin had a really good day, or at least, a lot of the day. No quarterback is ever perfect, especially in practice. And then right on down the line, man, it is so cool watching some of the young guys coming along, not the least of which is Turbo Rogers, the running back out of Montgomery, Alabama. Didn't get to really join the team until this summer because he wasn't an early enrollee. But he and Bo Jackson both just impressed. But Turbo, man, he's got that name for a reason. He is very fast getting to the edge. He makes some mistakes, as you would expect. Carlos Lachlan, their running backs coach, is one of the great upbraiders of all time, if you know what I mean by upbraid, getting in guys' faces, etc., letting them know something isn't good enough. That's not championship quality. But he's really coaching those two young guys hard. I mean, Bo Jackson, you've heard me talk about him all through the spring. And then even in preseason, Bo Jackson flashes every practice in some form or fashion. And he did that again today. That was fun to watch. I'm really thinking the offensive line, we saw what I thought was the first team offensive line out there for a while in one of the scrimmage situations. And it was Ethan Onianwa, the Body by Maradi transfer from Rice, who came in the winter. And every time you see him, he looks better and better at left tackle. Luke Montgomery at left guard, Carson Hinsman at center, Tegra Chabot at right guard, and Austin Seerveld at right tackle. Austin Seerveld, also one of those Body by Maradi guys who is really taken to the Mickey Maradi strength and conditioning program and transformed himself. He was always a big dude, but now he's a more trimmed up looking big dude, and he's being extremely competitive at that right tackle spot. We heard Ryan Day say in the spring he's going to be a starter. Of course, he didn't designate whether it be a right guard, right tackle, a cornerback. He didn't put a designation on it, but it's looking more and more like he's the front runner at least 3 days into camp. And today, take everything with a grain of salt. Today was the first day in full pads or shoulder pads, and they were able to do a little bit more robust hitting out there. But they're still trying to practice smartly in terms of guys staying off the ground, every other precaution you can take so that the grind of football doesn't really start on you until August the 30th. And speaking with that, Edric Houston again was out there walking around really without a limp. He had a brace on his right knee still. At one point, I think he was really walking around out there taking part in mental reps, for want of another term, wearing just what they call a compression sleeve, it looked like, on his right knee. So it looks like more and more he's going to be ready. But in the meantime, it's been pretty cool to watch the Moore kid, Will Smith Jr., and those other guys. Tywan Malone even flashed today a few times, but Will Smith Jr. definitely has made some strides. And we'll see how that depth goes in the defensive tackle area, the two defensive tackle spots. Boy, Caden McDonald, he's running around. I mean, I know he had some key plays last year, especially on goal line stands, but he looks like a guy ready to lead in the middle of that defensive line. But a guy who is clearly leading, and I don't mean in rank, I'm talking about in just being that guy out in front of the cavalry, so to speak, is Kenyatta Jackson. Every day you watch him, he wants to. We got to talk to Matt Patricia a day ago and talked about how Kenyatta Jackson wants to lead every drill. He wants to be the first guy running a drill, and we got to watch that. Those guys under the tutelage of Larry Johnson. Kenyatta Jackson is definitely setting a tone along with Caden Curry. And I brought up Bo Atkinson, I think, a minute ago, but Bo Atkinson, the transfer from North Carolina, definitely looks the part. And even saw some things going on with Bo Atkinson, Caden Curry, and Kenyatta Jackson on the field at the same time. Of course, they've run that Wall Street look, for want of another way of putting it, for many years now and stuff. But when you've got a little bit of a depth question at defensive tackle, Matt Patricia, I think, already showing what he's all about. I mean, there are ways to mix and match and still get the job done on that front line of the defense. So we'll see where that goes. I thought quite a few of the linebackers looked good. Peyton Pierce, Arvell Reese, definitely Sonny Styles, and Eli Pettijohn, who's got one of the great names ever for a linebacker. We'll see where that goes. He's still a freshman, and he's still working his way into things, but he's one of those other guys that has benefited from being around Mickey Marotti for several months. And then in the secondary, Caleb Downs, I don't know how to explain this to people, but he is a coach on the field. And I really think he could step in and be a coach right today. But the way he's all showing guidance to almost everybody on that defensive side of the ball, the way he's really into it, especially during the scrimmage action when guys were making plays or maybe needed a little bit of guidance. I mean, he's always there. And there's so much more to him than his ability to read and react and then go make the play. But that's what's so cool about him is he knows so much football and knows how to get guys lined up, etc. But he's also that guy that can then go and make the play physically. So that showed up again today in a lot of ways. But you really like what you're seeing from Caleb Downs. We've talked about the wide receiver core ad nauseum. No change there. They're all tall. They're almost all tall. They all can catch the ball and they can run with it. So what more can you say? I really like the play though during the midst of that scrimmage. I think it was a pass from Julian Sayin to Brandon Ennis, who took it to the house. It might have been Lincoln Kinos, but the bottom line was Brandon Ennis, when he got a full head of steam going, wow, that guy's really good. That's why he's still Tim May's potential breakout player of the year on the offense. I know. He's played a lot in the past, but not as much as he's going to play this year. And that one play just showed what I'm talking about. Give him a few more opportunities. Who knows what he can do? Who knows what he can produce? Well, with that said, there were estimated more than 1,000 people here who took advantage of being able to buy a ticket and get into practice. This was the third day of that, the third and final day of that. Probably 750, 800 people bought tickets. And then there were another 300 or 400 people here, I'm told, who were friends of the program, VIP access, families of players, etc. And I think everybody was entertained as football practice goes. It's kind of cool to watch so many really good football players angling for a spot, competing for a spot, because there's rarely a dull moment in a football practice when Ohio State is taking part. Much like, I'm sure you could say the same thing at Alabama, at Texas, at LSU, at Georgia. I could name them all of the schools that you have a high regard for in the job they've done in recruiting and in the transfer portal. But Ohio State takes a backseat to no one, as you know, at this point. So we'll be back. Clay Hall and I will be doing some more. I don't know if I'm going to be doing walk-in talks, because I've gotten the feedback is that makes people seasick, because here's a 71-year-old man walking around with a camera, a stick with a camera on the end of it. So we may do more walk, pause, talk, walk, pause, talk, which I think helps everybody. But down the line, Clay and I have really enjoyed the first couple of days of this, and I think we bring some, I don't know if expertise is the right term, bring some observations to the fore and maybe some old stories down the road, because we've got plenty of them. But until next time, this is Tim May for the Clay May Report. We'll see you then.